Ever since the PlayStation 5 Pro was first released onto the masses on November 7th, 2024, a lot of players were left asking the same question. Is it worth it? And it's remained a topic of debate ever since. One made even more complicated now, given the newly imposed price rises that has seen the PS5 Pro jump from $699.99 to a staggering $789.99. And no, I'm not kidding. The big advantage this mid-generation hardware iteration supposedly has over the base PS5 model comes in the form of PSSR, or PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution, being PlayStation's answer to Nvidia's DLSS and AMD's FSR, an AI-driven upscaling tech that analyzes game images pixel by pixel and then upscales them, all in the hopes of better bridging the gulf between high visual fidelity and smoother frame rates that still often can exist on console. The problem with this was that the original incarnation of PSSR 2 in some cases made the original games run worse on PS5 Pro than they did on the PS5 base model. I'm looking at you, Silent Hill 2. It's with this in mind that PlayStation is currently in the process of rolling out PSSR 2, a new implementation of this tech, which I've been putting through its paces in order to reassess the question. So, is PS5 Pro, and therefore PSSR 2, worth it now? Let's get into it. The first thing we need to establish is how PSSR 2, which at present is only applicable to a handful of games, differs from the original incarnation of PSSR. In this regard, in PlayStation's own words, the mission very much remains the same: to deliver enhanced image stability, improved clarity in fine details, and more consistent performance across supported titles. Essentially, it's to make games run smoother on PS5 Pro than is possible on the OG console, all without the need to sacrifice visual quality. If I'm being totally honest, we are seriously splitting hairs now with regards to what average or even casual players with a PS5 Pro are likely to notice with PSSR 2 switched on. Having said that though, this most recent generation, I've become a bit of a fuddy-duddy when it comes to 30 FPS in my games. So in theory, all the benefits of PSSR 2 is something that should benefit me greatly. The prospect of PSSR 2 is definitely exciting then, even if it does seem like PlayStation's way to apologize to existing PS5 Pro owners by implementing the performance benefits they originally promised. But judging from what I've seen so far, it's at least living up to the hype a lot better. The biggest obstacle facing PSSR 2 right now is that it's only applicable to a handful of games, but at least for right now, it's a somewhat halfway decent selection. Being the shiniest, sexiest game to support PSSR 2 and the first to do so at launch, Resident Evil Requiem is definitely a marquee title in terms of proving what the newly implemented upscaling tech can do. RE Engine games are already beautiful enough as it is, but as you can probably tell, reflections now look a lot more believable. The difference between light and shadows are made more apparent, and there's just generally a bit more of an edge to the way the game now looks. Resident Evil Requiem's opening area is a particularly great way of showcasing all of these visual improvements, which thankfully never come at the cost of frame rate, at least from what I've been able to tell. A weird thing for RE Engine games is that it has a bit of an issue with human hair. However, even in this regard, PSSR 2 is already showing its strengths, with Grace's short blonde mop looking much crisper and less fuzzy in both gameplay and cutscenes. Another game PlayStation has been using to show off the new and improved PSSR 2 tech is Silent Hill F, a particular favourite of mine from last year that I played on a base model PS5. I don't remember it looking or running poorly on that model, but I'd always heard about how much of a disaster it was on the original PS5 Pro PSSR. If that was the case, you'd surely not know it now. With the new PSSR 2 setting turned on, Konami claims that aspects such as, quote, swaying blades and shadows are now rendered with greater clarity. I wouldn't say these details were anything I noticed as being particularly poor when I played Hinako's 1960 set adventure the first time around, but it's true that there is a better level of visual quality found in Silent Hill F's fog and foliage if you're willing to look close enough. The starting area of Silent Hill F is a great one to see these admittedly minuscule but impactful visual benefits. Bushes and sprouted grass don't suffer from any artifacting or visual fuzz, with all available foliage looking great. Again, just how much of your time will be spent looking at this stuff may vary, but at the very least, I wasn't able to find any examples of the shimmering, flickering, or strobing environmental details that previously plagued the original PS5 Pro version running PSSR. The final game we're going to take a look at today comes in the form of Alan Wake 2, a game already known as being one of the most beautiful games potentially ever made, at least in the current console generation. This is a game which, alongside Control, heavily relies on a sense of atmosphere and mystery, so I was excited to see all the ways that PSSR 2 can potentially help enhance these aspects. Immediately after testing Alan Wake 2 with the all-new PSSR 2, I was instantly impressed by the results. This is a game that already could make a case for being one of the best looking horror games as it is, but now it looks a lot shinier. Who knew that was even possible, and dare I say, even more engrossing. The game's beginning has a lot of great examples of dense foliage and bleak but impactful lighting, both of which are rendered more clearly now than ever. One of the visual aspects that impressed me most about Alan Wake 2 in this opening area relates to the natural lighting, which now rolls off the back of Saga Anderson's FBI coat with an uncanny sense of realism and believability. Alan Wake 2 is one of those games that also gives you a lot of great control between quality and performance modes on PS5 Pro. I chose to set the new PSSR 2 implementation in performance mode, and the visual results were still staggering. Generally then, PSSR 2 is an all-round much better and more successful implementation of AMD's FSR tech within a PlayStation 5 Pro model. Games like Resident Evil Requiem obviously look great, meaning that if you're someone with a PS5 Pro, you're gonna generally get a better visual and smoother gameplay experience. However, I still question whether or not these minute changes make the PS5 Pro ultimately worth it. Right now, with the PS5 Pro costing $789.99 here in the UK, I'd be remiss to recommend anyone with a base PS5 to upgrade to Sony's souped-up console SKU, at least until PSSR 2 is rolled out to a bunch more titles and that PlayStation does a better job of noting them on the actual console. Undoubtedly, the games that support this tech are able to run in a more stable fashion now, yet the biggest hurdle, in addition to its price, is definitely the fact that not every PS5 Pro game, even those that supported the old PSSR, have incorporated the new AI upscaling tech yet. I'm sure these rollouts will eventually come, and even as I record this video, Assassin's Creed Shadows has deployed its PSSR 2 patch, with Cyberpunk 2077's set to soon follow. Ultimately, the PS5 Pro is and always has been squarely targeted at console power users craving the absolute best visual fidelity and performance, something more akin to PC. It's the good kind of AI in that sense, as opposed to whatever Nvidia is doing with DLSS 5, but I don't think PSSR 2's current implementation makes picking up a PS5 Pro worthwhile. Put simply, the games are good, but the price for it is not. However, if you're an existing PS5 Pro owner, there's no reason not to check out the list of supported games as it continues to grow. So there you have it guys, in terms of my in-depth analysis and somewhat full review impressions of PSSR 2. Obviously there's a lot more games that need to take advantage of this tech, but for now, what do you think? If you're a PS5 Pro user, let me know in the comment section below. Then, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more, be sure to leave it a like, and consider subscribing to the All Out Gaming YouTube channel to stay up to date with even more videos like this. Until next time, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.